Hello students, in this video we are going to talk about control and coordination, the second chapter of biology. As we all know that movement is basic characteristics of all living things. Movement can be of two types, growth movement and non-growth movement. For example, growth movement, a seedling coming out from the soil. That is an example of growth movement, or a bud changing into a flower. Non-growth movement, a child moving on a swing. Second, or a cat is running. So these are the examples of non-growth movement. No matter what type of movement it is, but all the movements are highly controlled and coordinated. These movements always depends on the event and the environment that triggers it. Now, for example, suppose you are sitting in a classroom and you want to talk with your friend. What will you do? Will you shout or will you whisper? Definitely you will whisper with that friend. But now if you are on a field, now whispering will not work. There you will shout. So here the environment is triggering for the movement. So the movement which you are doing, or the response which you are doing, whether you are whispering or you are shouting, so this is done only when one recognizes the various events in the environment and allows the movement accordingly. Right, children? I hope this much is clear to you. Now, in higher organisms, specialized tissues are there for control and coordination. In animals, control and coordination is performed by nervous and muscular tissues. Keep it in mind, for in animals, right? This control and coordination is performed by nervous and muscular tissue. Whereas in plants have chemical or hormonal system. Plants chemical and hormonal system. Animals do not have nerves or muscles like we have or the animals have. There are chemicals in the plants which support the plant to do all the movements in control and coordinated way. In animals, along with nervous and muscular, there is one more system that is called the hormonal system. So nervous, muscular, hormonal, together this constitutes a neuroendocrine system. So how will you learn it? That in plants, control and coordination is done by chemicals or hormones. In animals, along with nervous and muscular system, one more hormonal system is there for control and coordination, and together all these three, nervous, muscular, hormonal, it constitutes neuroendocrine system. Now proceeding further with the topic, I would like to draw your attention towards these some important terms. Very first is stimulus. This word you have already studied in class 6, 7th, 8th. Stimulus, that means agent, factors, chemicals in environment that brings reaction in organism. Right? For example, if something falls on your head, immediately you shut your eyes. So the object which is falling on your hand is the stimulus, right? And what is the response? Reaction to the stimulus. When you shut your eyes, that is the response. Now next is receptors. Cells, tissues, organs responsible for receiving particular stimulus and initiate impulse. For example, if we see anything, that means these sense organs have something in that. Those are called the receptors because they are receiving that particular stimulus. Impulse, yes, very important. in this our nervous system? Self-generated electric current. Whatever the message is moving in the body, it is in the form of impulse. Next is effectors. Effectors are the muscles, gland, tissues which act in response to the message received from nervous system. So receptors take this message to the brain or spinal cord, that we will study later on, and when this message is reached up to the brain or nervous system, then what response we are doing and through which organs we are responding are the effectors. Now we will discuss animal nervous system in detail. We have 5 receptors in our body, right? These receptors receive external stimulus, right? So what are those different receptors in our body? First is photoreceptor. These photoreceptors detect light and they are present in our eyes. Phonoreceptor detect sound present in inner ear. Thermoreceptor detect heat and cold, present in skin. Gustatory receptors detect taste, found in taste buds. And olfactory receptors, these detect smell and they are present in our nasal cavity. So children, in animals or higher organisms, the nervous system comprises of nerve cell or neuron. Okay, nerve cell or neuron. These are the functional unit of nervous system. Functional unit of nervous system. These are the largest cell in the body and some of the cells are even 1 meter in length. Now we will discuss about the structure of nerve cell. Here is the structure of nerve cell. This nerve cell is specialized to receive, conduct and transmit impulses. Now you can see here this nerve cell is divided into 3 parts. One is cell body, axon, nerve ending. This cell body consists of a nucleus, cytoplasm and fiber-like structures called dendrites. There is a long extended part that is called axon. On the axon there is a covering called myelin sheath. This myelin sheath protects this axon with axon from shocks. And last is the nerve ending. Now see here, this cell body contains, as I told you, contains all the organelles except centrioles. Because of the absence of centrioles, this nerve cell cannot divide further. Now dendrites, very important parts, right? These dendrites pick up sensation and transmit the same to the cell body. From cell body, this longest part of neuron consisting of single elongated fiber, this conducts impulse away from the cell body up to the nerve ending. It has an insulating and protective sheet, as I told you, that is called the myelin sheath. So children, how information is passed? The first, this information. Now see here, information very first is taken by the dendrites. From dendrites, the information goes into cell body. From cell body, it comes to axon. Through axon, it reaches up to nerve ending. A very amazing thing that you might not be knowing, that no two cells, nerve cells, are connected with each other. Now the question comes in our mind, if no two cells are connected, there is a microscopic gap between the two cells, and this microscopic gap is called synapse. Now the question comes to our mind, if no two cells are connected, then how the message is transmitted, right? So this microscopic, a very strange thing happens at this microscopic gap called synapse. Information at the dendritic tip. Now see, listen carefully. information at the dendritic tip sets a chemical reaction that creates an electric impulse. This electric impulse, as I have told you, that whatever message in our body passes, it passes only and only in the form of electric impulse. So the message is taken by dendrite, and this message, when the message is taken, it creates a chemical reaction, and due to that chemical reaction, electric impulse create. This impulse travels from the dendrite to the cell body and then along the axon to its end. These electric impulse at the end of, very important, listen carefully, these electric impulse at the end of the axon releases some chemicals. Here some chemicals are released. These chemicals are called neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitters. So what is happening? Message taken from the dendrite through axon, it reaches up to nerve ending. Here at the ending or at the synapse, some chemicals are released, and those chemicals are called neurotransmitters. These chemicals cross the gap between the two neurons and start a similar electric impulse in the dendrite of the next axon. This is how the message is transmitted, and I will show you this by a diagram. Now see, at synapse what happens. This is the nerve ending of first neuron, and this is the dendritic tip of second neuron, and the gap between these two is called the synapse. Now what happens at the synapse, the nerve ending, some chemicals are secreted. These chemicals are called neurotransmitters, where these chemicals then creates the same electric impulse at this dendritic tip, and again that information is forwarded from neuron to neuron in the form of electric impulse. This is how the message is traveled in the body.